Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the On and Off Pod. My name's Adam, of course, joined by my fellow host and the star of the show, Josh. How are we, mate?
Good, thanks, Adam. How are you, mate?
Going really well. It's a nice day. Went and got my hair cut. No, you had your hair cut
Yeah, I had
recently?
mine done a couple of days ago, so...
Looks good. You've got actually, you're doing something new, aren't you?
What's
With
that?
your hair. You like getting kind of like the mohawk slash...
Yeah, Run's liking the style.
Iran or you?
No, Run. I just go and sit in the chair, mate. He cuts me hair.
And he does your hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can't be rude and not introduce the absolute star that we've wanted on for so very, very long. We've planned to get this guy on, a Collingwood superstar, ex-Melbourne superstar, a near and dear friend of mine, only lives up the road, Jeremy Howe.
Thanks,
Welcome,
boys.
mate.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for jumping on.
Clearly missed a memo about getting a haircut before the ep, so apologies for the messed up hair, boys.
Where do you go to get your haircut? You don't go to that. There's a Collingwood barber, isn't there?
No, I don't go out I don't go out that side of town. It's too far. Just at Elwood Barbers.
Yeah, come to Iran. Iran will love it.
Where is he?
Is it Mulgrave?
Mulgrave.
Too far.
You know where the Hawthorn Footy Club is? He's right near there.
Yeah, no chance.
No, but how are we, mate? We good? I know you're obviously...
Yeah, the body's healthy, so it's nice to just nice to be playing again. It's been a long last probably 24 months. As you know, body didn't really hold up that well for the last two seasons, so yeah, nice to play the first 9 games of the season and get a couple of wins along the way.
And it must have felt like that 200 game milestone, which 2 years ago you should have played it, and obviously the injuries kind of set you back. It must have been nice to actually get there. Round 5 this year? I wish I could have got up there to watch her, but it was nice for you to reach that milestone, I know.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where you're probably like, geez, I don't even know if I'm going to get there anymore. It's like, it was meant to happen in 2020 and then, it all come to a pretty quick stop, breaking my leg or my knee. So, yeah, it's nice to get there. It's one of those ones that you look back on and go, yep, finally got there. One that you'll be looking forward to this week, no doubt.
Yeah, well, actually, here's one tomorrow this week.
How good, mate?
Where's my little video to watch so we can sit there on the couch and watch the video? Come on, Jack.
It's here. We've got it sorted. Don't worry about that.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
Highlights.
Oh, no. No, it actually probably would be a pretty good highlight.
We got something special for you. Wow. Have a listen to him. He's had 30 and kicked 3 last week, obviously.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, just got his confidence up just for his 200th this week.
No, let's touch on the game. let's touch on the game.
Yeah, yep, perfect.
Obviously, you're on the other side.
Yep.
Surely there's a little bit in there you're like, oh, I'm proud you did well, Adsy.
Yeah, there's a little bit. No, mate, of course. I love seeing you go well, especially it was like being a close up that close. Watching you have 35 and 3 is probably not ideal against us, but you certainly weren't on your own that Friday night. But hey, always watching, mate. It's always good to see.
Hold on, what about our tactics as a footy team to try and nullify?
There's a couple of funny stories. Yeah,
you were involved in a couple of funny ones, weren't you?
yeah, because I was forward. So the plan was to let a couple other players free rather than Howie, because he's obviously their main intercept defender and star of the comp. So we were all surrounding him and he gave us the biggest spray, telling us how stupid we are, 3-on-1 and stuff like that. It was good.
Yeah, I know you're just putting it nicer there, Josh, but you would have said it in some other way.
Potentially could have been a few F-bombs thrown in there as well. No, look, it was good tactic, one that I probably didn't enjoy, but good luck to
Yeah,
him.
but you must take that as a compliment, because clearly opposition teams are, we clearly recognise you as being, probably the most important player, most influential player that we need to nullify, and that'll go a long way to us winning. And you're doing it at, you're 31 this year?
32 this year.
30? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
32. There shouldn't be an or-no there, but you're still playing.
I'm feeling fresh now, given I had the last 2 years off. So, but yeah, back to your thing. We'll take it as a compliment. Not at the time. It drives me insane.
Does it happen to you every week?
Oh, you definitely understand that people put a premium into you not being able to intercept the ball in the air.
Yeah.
But, on the weekend was probably a little bit more attentive to blokes lining up on me. But, yeah, you get it every now and then. But, no, the boys did a good job. And you were one of them.
Yeah.
Prick.
Well, I know. I know. Actually,
First out of bounds, we lined up on each other.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you say anything to each other?
Good luck.
Good luck. That was
See you
about it.
then.
Yeah.
You know that mark? You took a contestant grab. I think Madge was behind you, and were you in front of him?
I can't remember.
Surely not.
Come on, Dunks. You know most of your players' involvements in the game.
Oh, the mark.
There was a contestant grab you took, and I reckon Howie might have been in front of you.
I wouldn't have been on him.
No, I don't know if he was in front of me.
I know. Oh, okay, well, I was just going to say there might be one up on you there. You get the one up on Howie.
No, I've kicked it to Howie. I've set him up for a few hangers in his career, I reckon.
Oh, well, that's actually impressive in itself with the fact that you actually drafted as a forward, weren't you?
Yeah, so I used to play,
and late.
I used to
late
play.
in your career.
I used to play as a mid.
When?
Did you actually?
When I was like a junior and played senior footy back home locally, I used to just play as a mid and then just sit a kick behind the ball. It was so
so you naturally had that just float back ability and just take a hanger on
Well,
someone.
I was probably wasn't defensively minded in transition. I just didn't push forward or back that hard, so I just sat behind the ball.
Is anyone at junior footy though, or
No,
like footy?
no. So
At
yeah.
AFL level, some players aren't either.
But then like you said, I got drafted as a forward. So yeah, spent best parts of probably 60 games as a forward at Melbourne, and then we kind of just decided to make the change as my influence as a forward started declining at a rapid notch. Well, we're only getting 15 inside 50s a game, so it's pretty hard to kick a score. But I went back and then had a bit of influence down there, and then I've probably over my career probably played about 60-40 now as a back, just ahead of the forward. So,
What about that funny? I always ask you about it. I reckon 2 or 3, 4 times a year about that story about. I think you were playing for the D's at the time as forward, and I think Roosie was your coach. And you might have been playing the Cats and didn't touch the footy. What did he say to you at halftime?
Oh, so put some context in the game. We were terrible. Geelong were humming. Come in at halftime. We're up at Cardinia Park as well. And he looks at me and he goes, Howie. I was like, fuck, here we go. There's spray coming. He's like, that is the most influential half I've ever seen from a bloke who's never touched the ball. You're just creating that many contests. I was like, I thought I was in the trouble, like massive trouble.
You haven't touched it.
Everyone knows when you've had 0 touches. And I'm like, talk about a bit contradictive, because if that was a game and we were losing by 2 goals, I guarantee I'd be on the pine.
Absolutely.
So, it caught me by surprise, but that's probably one of the moments he was happy with me.
How'd you finish the game? Did you end up?
Kicked 2 in the second half.
Oh, good.
But it probably only had about 3 more touches after half-time. So we won the game.
So it's the greatest 3-touch, 2-goal performance in the history.
Apparently.
According to Roosie.
According to Roosie, who knows his stuff. So
That's hilarious. No, well, you obviously, as you said, you played your footy down in Tassie, grew up in Tassie. Must have some funny stories down there, or some fun stories growing up down there.
yeah, well, kind of like I got drafted late because I probably didn't take my footy that seriously ever, really, down there. Just played local footy with my mates. We were all just at Dodgers Ferry, and then like half the senior team were like 15, 16 years old, and we all just played together all the way through. And then I decided to make a change and go play a state league, which is best senior footy in Tassie, for 12 months. We got belted all year.
Which team was that for?
Hobart Tigers.
Yep.
So I think we only won 4 games for the year. And then the recruiters were looking at a guy called Jay Bowden, who he's literally won like the Association Best and Fairest about 8 times. And Melbourne recruiters were looking at him, and we played him and we flogged him. And I just managed to have a good game. Big blonde mullet was hanging out the back.
As a midfielder too.
Yeah, I was playing centre.
Love that.
That's when they used to just call it
Centre.
Centre.
Yeah.
Good.
Had about 30, kick 3 or so, but then it was like similar to your game on Friday. But and then they instantly just changed their mind and started looking at me the next few games, and luck just fell my way, I guess, and managed to get picked up at 20.
So you play. So that's funny. So you had no intention at all at the time. Like there was no aspiration to actually want to get drafted, or did you want to play VFL or any? Like, because Tassie footy, you don't tend to get drafted from playing senior Tassie footy, do you?
Not really, nah. So they've got the pathways with the Mariners under 18s, and
But you played that, right? 18.
So I was playing in there in my draft year, but then I broke my ankle, so they cut me.
Oh,
So they got rid of me. But then by the time I'd rehab and got back, like I was actually still eligible to play, but I was already cut, so I couldn't play. So then I ended up playing VFL. So then there was an uproar. So I was playing.
Sorry, VFL for Tassie Mariners.
I was playing. So Tassie Devils. So I was playing.
Fuck,
I was
didn't
playing
realise
They're in the
VFL.
VFL.
Yeah. So I was playing Tassie senior footy in the VFL, but I was ineligible to play for the under 18s. So I was playing against.
How rogue is that?
So I'm playing against AFL listed players, but I can't play under 18s for Tassie.
How'd you go in that?
Terrible.
Terrible.
I didn't have much of an influence, but like it was still great. I only played 6 games. We weren't that great at the time, but even just travelling like interstate to play games of footy, travelling with the team. Like I was only like 18.
A young 18 Jeremy Howe would have been Funny. Would have been
Throwing
trouble.
with the Tassie VFL team. It was interesting.
You know, my old man was playing at Tassie, Launceston.
Was he?
Yeah, that's where he got picked up from.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like.
Do you know that?
No, I didn't. So the whole thing with Tassie footy has always been like there was either a VFL team or there was Tassie State League.
Yeah.
They couldn't fund both. So then VFL get.
So that's why VFL's gone.
Yeah. So now they just run the 10 senior teams in there. I think there's only maybe even 9 now. Like they're literally draining it pretty quick.
And the best chance you can get drafted from.
Well, it was like
Tassie is the
playing
18s.
really. Yeah, the under 18s would be number 1, and then you'd have to have a pretty big breakout year in the TSL
Really?
to get drafted.
Otherwise, you'd tend to move over here, wouldn't you? And you'd play or sandful or waffle footy. And geez, you're lucky you.
So that was the thing, because I was like you said before, at no stage did I ever go, I was like, I'm all in. I just want to get drafted, and that's all I want to do. I was like, I love playing footy, but I love my weekends with the boys probably even more. And like my preparation was never preparation was never on point. Like it was always like, so Thursday night footy, even when I was getting drafted, Thursday nights was like beers on Thursday for team selection. So I was like,
nothing's changed, or
is this going air or? Yeah, but it was really interesting because when I was played at Dodgers, we used to have Thursday night beers, go have dinner at the pub on Friday night, so the night before the game.
Which led into beers, of course.
Yeah, so I'd have a steak, a Caesar salad, chips, and 4 pots. That's the night before a game, so I'm like 19. And then if we played someone shit, we'd be there till close.
Wow.
So
you look at your calendar and be like,
we know who we're
we've
playing.
got so-and-so, their shit. We'll
so
just
the
get
boys
hammered.
just turn one on. And then literally rock up the next day and the president was at the pub the night before. He goes, you blokes better fucking win.
What's the latest you reckon you stayed out for a game, night for a game, leading into one of those games?
Well, so closed. It's like midnight. It was like...
Yeah, but you haven't kicked on at a boy's house or something?
Nah,
afterwards?
first practice game I had for my TSL club, I finished up at 4:30. And then we played at 11:30.
How'd you go?
And I played on a bloke who had a barcode tattooed on the back of his neck. And I was just like, I'm not feeling this. Got rolled in a pracky game, then just went home, slept it off, and then,
Was that,
Good as gold.
sorry, was that for Dodgers Ferry or was that?
That was for Hobart. That was the team I got drafted
That's
from.
where he got drafted from.
So, yeah, things have changed a little bit over
So
time.
how many years did you play at Hobart before getting drafted? 2.
1.
So you were 20.
Yeah, that 1 year. So, yeah, that's why I was probably so lucky because given the team was going so terrible, just managed to get plucked out of nowhere, really.
And so come the end of the year, so you obviously played the year out, and then Melbourne said to go nominate yourself for the draft, or how did it work?
Yeah, so I ended up obviously getting a manager before, just pre that, as the build-up kind of started getting a bit more around
Attention,
that.
yeah.
So I was like, I better get a manager.
Yeah.
Because I've got no idea what I need to do.
Yeah. Crazy time.
And then ended up flying over, meeting Dean Bailey, met his wife, had lunch and that there, got to know him, and then he asked me, why should I pick you? I was like...
What did you say?
That is a question I wouldn't know how to answer. No, I just kind of told him, I said, I've always been a really good trainer. I was like, I love like the social side with my mates, but I was like, I've always been an elite trainer. And
I can vouch for that too.
I was like,
Definitely vouch for
and
that.
the competitive side is something that probably comes naturally. So I literally said, I was like, I don't know that many players that you got. I was like, but whoever I stand next to, I was like, I'll beat them in a comp.
That's
like,
great.
Whatever it is. And he's like, I've heard enough. I was like, fuck, I've blown it. I was like, and then they sent me home that day. I was like, just sitting on the plane going home. I was like,
I've blown
did
it.
it sound that bad? Like, I was like,
So he said, I've heard enough, and that was it.
that was it. We kind of like, I appreciate you coming over. I was like, obviously tough coming over in the morning, then we send you back at lunchtime. I was like, oh, jeez, how good is that?
Can I ask, how did you mentioned before you had the blonde hair, and
Yeah.
is that how you rocked up with the blonde hair?
Nah, so
and
I'd cut it out at the time. I wouldn't have rocked up to his house with like full, that was like heavily tipped hair. And then because my mullet didn't fit in the tip cap, I just dyed the back of it.
Oh, a different colour.
So it was like peroxide.
Oh my god,
Yellowy white, and it was terrible. And the thing is, my mum was a hairdresser at the time, but she didn't have any involvement in that.
She must have been so disappointed that you.
Disappointment was, I'd take that. I'd take that. So, yeah, and then how it unfolded from there was, pretty quick in the end. Went watched a draft at the local casino with my mates, parents, friends. And I was like, I'm not confident.
So you weren't confident at all?
Nah.
And there was literally one team that would have taken it. You didn't speak to any other teams?
Nah, I spoke to a few. Spoke to Geelong,
okay,
St
okay,
Kilda,
okay.
Brisbane. but none of them were overly keen at all. So then draft night came, we're sitting on the stools, and I was like, started the second round. I was going to go get some beers and that. And I was sitting on a stool, turned around, I was just like looking away. Next minute, I'm on my back. It was like stacks on in the middle of the casino. I was like,
what's happening?
What's going on? They're like, you're going to Melbourne. I was like, and then like literally from that moment, I was
and
like,
then the night's
wow.
a blur, yeah?
Yeah, well, me and Dad were wrestling out the front at 2:30. And we got a maxi taxi home. And then I rocked up to work the next day because I was obviously a sparky.
Yeah.
Got Mum to drop me off because I clearly couldn't drive. And I told my boss, he's like, I'm so happy, so proud, rah, rah. He goes, I'm going to work you really hard for 2 weeks. He thought the 2 weeks notice stood up. I was like, no, I'll give you the best 8 hours of my life, then I'm out of here. I was like, we've got to go.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, so he's like, stuff it, we won't work. We'll just have a barbie, a few beers and send you off. So had more beers on Friday, then ended up having a piss up at home on the Saturday.
Moved on the Sunday.
Moved on Sunday, day one Monday.
Was it the old time trot, like the 3K time trot?
Nah, it wasn't. That was back in the day where you almost got like drip fed in a little bit. So like new boys come in, it's like you can go out and have a little bit of a kick, then we'll bring you in, a bit of an induction.
Look after him.
It's probably good because I didn't feel good till about Wednesday.
How was the process of moving? And had you'd always lived in Tassie, hadn't you? You'd never been anywhere else.
Yeah, I'd always lived at home.
Yeah.
So, you soon become independent pretty quick. We have to because I moved in with Colin Garland. Well, I originally moved in with Wadey, my cousin. Mm-hmm. So I moved in with him for a bit.
Matty Wade, for people listening, the great Australian cricketer.
Yeah, so moved in with him for a bit, then moved in with Colin Garland.
Yep.
So he, another Tassie boy, looked after me for probably the first 3 months. And then I kind of just leapfrogged around, went to Matty Bate for 6 months out in Oakley. Then I moved to Carnegie with Geordie McKenzie. Then we moved to South Yarra. Then I bought a place in Elwood.
Yep.
And now I've ended up in Hyatt, just around the corner, obviously. So, yeah, about 6-7 moves in the last 12 years.
And you've lived with what, 4, 5, 6 different teammates. Why was that? Are you getting sick of him or something? Were you?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they get sick of me. I met the lovely wife Carly when I was 23.
Yep.
And once we ended up moving bought the place in Elwood, and we're like, I don't really need a housemate anymore. I've got Carly.
Yeah, I love that. Carl's is from WA, right?
Perth girl, yeah. So,
how did you guys end up meeting? What?
So she moved over in 2009, I think, or 2008. Yep. She was in like the events and catering space. So she ended up coming over for opportunity and study, and she also played basketball as well, state basketball. So come over. She had a partner at the time, and she was Jack Grimes. So his wife and Carly become really good friends.
Yep.
So yeah, kind of when I knew Carly and I knew who she was without really knowing her.
Who's you?
And then I found out that her and her boyfriend were on the rocks. So I was like,
oh, my time to jump in.
Here we go.
So I waited. Clearly.
I like that. That's good.
And then swooped in, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
CQ.
That was like, what was that? 2 years after you moved here?
So that I was 23. So I was in my third year. I met her. I think. So I met her on the CQ dance floor. Showed her some of my best.
You ever been there?
So I don't think I have.
That you can remember?
No. Yeah, true. True.
Not many people do remember when they end up at that joint. So
maybe that's
is it
why.
even still going? Is it still on?
No,
I have no idea.
Well, I don't know.
Have you been there?
I've been there once.
No, I've got no idea.
Early days.
Yeah, it was good establishment when you're 21.
But not after that.
Not 31, that's for sure.
So being from Tassie, do you think there should be an AFL team there?
That's a great question. I was going to ask that.
Well, I do, because I feel like the influence of Tassie, the actual state, and their contribution to footy is enough to have, in their own right, to have their own team. I think logistics and financial stuff around that, how that would work, I'm not too sure, but do they deserve a team? Yeah, of course they do. Yeah. And if they're going to build this stadium that they're planning on doing, like you've only got to probably look at the NBL with the jack jumpers and the support that the locals have given them. Like I've got mates who don't even like basketball that have got paid up memberships, rocking up to their games, like they're frothing on it. So
well, Brody Mychek was at one of these games too?
That was in Melbourne, yeah.
No, I mean in Melbourne. And
him and Isaac Chug, and neither of them
they talk about
know anything about basketball.
They went to Tassie to watch.
No, it was the game that you went to here.
Oh, in Melbourne.
Brody Mychek went, and I swear he knows nothing about basketball.
He doesn't.
But anyway.
And so yeah, I think like seeing that unfold is like a perfect example of what the state would, how supportive they would be, and Yeah, and it's just like trying to work out the logistics of it.
Do you think it should be an extra team or like move someone there?
Nah, I think they should have their own team.
I think
like,
so.
I don't think moving north to Tassie is going to do them any favours. Like if they're going to have a team, have their own team.
Yep.
Which would make 19, and then maybe just play everyone once for the year, and then that's it. But then ultimately, you probably want 20. The NT would probably
which
get a
would
team
probably
as well.
eventually happen though. But it's great because as you spoke about how with you, when you play state footy in Tassie, it's so hard for. And one of my mates, Sammy Daly, Sammy Daly, obviously down in Tassie, born and bred there. It's hard to get drafted from the Tassie League, as we just touched on. You'd have to relocate and move. So I think having a Tassie team and then kind of breeding their own to then come play for them would be something really big for Tassie as well. I think it'd be huge. I think they should do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting how that unfolds. Like it's going to be, they'll make a team well and truly after I'm gone. But
I was going to say, would you play down there?
Oh, would I?
Yeah.
The Collingwood would have to get rid of me.
Say you. I don't know, how old was Sean Burgoyne when he retired? Was he 38, 39?
Like, arguably one of the greatest Indigenous players of all time.
Absolutely.
You're going to start referring me to be like, I'm going to play that long?
Well, yeah. Well, mate, the way you're playing now, at least another 3, 4, 5 years in you.
Yeah, I like that.
Hypothetically, you're 35, 36.
Yeah.
Kind of like you can go to Tassie play. Would you love to play for him?
If they wanted to get rid of me.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If they had thought I'd spend all my tickets and they want to get rid of me, I would go.
And play.
But if I feel like I can still contribute to the Pies and they want me, then clearly I'd stay.
What about life after footy? Coaching? Do you want to stay in it or?
Yeah, well, I'm doing my level 3 at the moment, which I kind of enjoy. I think when you kind of get to my age, you naturally start almost like working like a coach anyway. You start working with the young boys, trying to develop them, and just trying to impart your knowledge and what you've learned along the way to them. But then, yeah, I suppose like I love the game. I love the environment. I used to be a tradie, as you boys would know, but I don't see myself going back to that. Like an environment that is filled with shitloads of people is something that I want to be in, and a bit more hands-on. I couldn't sit behind a desk or anything like that. So I think it's something that's on the cards. But yeah, I'm not sure. We'll wait and see. But I feel like that's if I was going to put all my eggs in one basket, it's probably that.
Yep.
And the 2 years you had pretty much out, you did quite a bit of coaching on the boundary line. I remember you used to come down and you'd have the headset on and.
Yeah, well, that's what probably gave me the taste of it, really, because missing 36 games, whatever, in 2 years, I started coding every game, working with the backs.
Do you give Adam any sprays?
No, I didn't dare tread on the mids' feet because they bite back at you that quick. So.
Oh, really? Oh, come on, we're talking about Taylor, are we?
Adsy, I didn't have much for Ads because he was the number 1 defensive runner in the team. So
yeah, still hasn't changed.
Yeah, look, so it was good for me to get that taste, but yeah, hopefully I got a couple more years of playing first.
No, well, you definitely do. But I think, personally, this is just me giving you a bit of a pump up right now, but I think people always ask about coaching and could you coach at AFL level, and not me personally, but just in general, how would you find a coach? You have to know the game in and out. You well and truly know the game in and out. Have to have like a love kind of / an obsession for it. I feel like you have that for it. And then you got to be a little bit weird and
which I don't have.
No, and be
You'll develop.
Be able to adjust and change on the run and be out there and be a coach, which you have as well. So I think you would well and truly be able to fit into that.
So you think I'm a weirdo?
I do not think
That's
you're
all
a weirdo. I think coaches, they have to be a little bit weird in that regard, and I think you have that. You have that in you.
Well,
and it's a compliment. I'm taking it as a compliment.
Nah, thanks, mate. I think the biggest thing for me is like relationships-wise. I don't know. I feel like I kind of understand what makes people tick and what doesn't. So getting the best out of players is obviously ultimately making them feel good about themselves and feel like their contribution to the team is enough.
Yeah.
And a lot of things come down to confidence, but I feel like I can bring that out in people. So
what
that's
about
a big part of it.
How would you go? You know, when there's a lot of people out there who have strained relationships. They play together and then one might become a coach and coach a player that they may have played with, and then their relationship then, I guess, becomes strained because you end up being coach player, and then you got to have that balance of being able to be a coach and be hard on the person versus being able to lean on them and be a friend. How do you reckon you would go in that regard? Would you be able to look past your friendship with someone and be like, what the fuck you doing, pretty much? Do you reckon?
I think I would, but ultimately that's similar to like being in the leadership group.
So
like,
this is
it's
why
like
I think you could be a coach.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Why I
It's
think
not
you could be a
necessarily
coach.
like just because you like someone or your relationship really strong, you're not going to tell them off.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it is one of those things that would come in part. It would be really difficult.
Yeah.
Because one is like, how close do you want to be without being too close?
Yep.
But then you still got to be firm but fair because of the role that you're in. So I don't have to think about that for quite some time, hopefully. But yeah, like I said, it'd be really difficult, and I'm sure some coaches find it harder than others. Some coaches probably don't give a shit and they're fine with it, but I'd find it pretty difficult initially.
Yeah. I think you have that as well.
I do.
I reckon you do, yeah. I reckon as you become a lot more experienced and when you get a little bit older, yeah, you definitely do. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I feel like you can put your friendship aside with someone as a teammate and be hard on them if you really wanted to.
Yeah, well, I
reckon
think
you
that's
can.
important.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
Like, we give it to each other feedback.
Yeah.
We give it to others.
Yeah, yeah.
We're probably not as strong as what Howie is.
Howie's one of the, I talk about it all the time with leadership and what I've experienced, and the boys at the Pies, like Pendles and you in particular, are two of the best leaders that I've definitely played under. Your ability to be able to challenge someone and then be mates with them and be able to land on them and show a loving, caring side is the best I've seen.
Well, ultimately, it comes down to the relationship you got with the person.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, you're not going to spray blokes and have like zero relationship.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're the ones that probably come off a little bit like you're having a crack at me.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you've got an open two-way conversation, as long as it's not just heavily directed like downwards, it's like two blokes having a conversation. We ultimately work out and get to a solution. Then that's fine. But they don't make it any easier. It's still difficult to have, and you'd like to think that you'd be able to do that with a lot of people, but it heavily depends on how the person reacts as well. But the delivery is probably the most important thing.
So you wouldn't want to go back and be a Sparky. Is that what you were, Sparky?
Yeah, I was an electrician for 4 years, or almost 4 years.
Wouldn't want to go back and do that again?
Nah.
Do you still know the tricks of the trade?
I do. I'll be able to wire up a house and
So look at that light, it's flickering.
I can fix that for you.
In how long?
It'll cost you $150. Probably take me 30 seconds.
Just go get a new light bulb.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I can't be bothered.
No, but it was like in saying that, like when I was in it, I loved it. Like when I was an apprentice, I loved it. Like crawling under floors and in roofs and that, people are like, geez, that'd be a shit job.
Yeah.
But when you're like 16, 17, you're like, this is pretty cool.
Not scared of spiders or anything?
Well, you soon become not pretty quick because you're with them all the time. So funny story is like in my first year, I was like got sent up in the roof, crawling around, and I got like in a real tight corner, and then my head torch started flicking on and off, on and off, on and off. And I was like, fuck, I don't know what's going on. Then I just flicked it on, and there's a possum right in my grill.
Oh, no.
And then we just had this moment where we were just looking at each other. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I freeze and they're like, you're right. And I just don't say anything. And then all of a sudden it's like backpedaling like real slow. Get all the way back to the manhole, jump down. I was like, fuck, I don't know if I can do that again.
What was your first, like, did you know it was a possum straight away? Did you have to, like, think, what the heck am I looking at?
Oh, you had a pretty good indication of what was going on. Yeah, we used to look like this big fluffy tail thing sticking out. And just look, and given it was there,
Yeah.
you knew exactly what it was. Like a giant rat.
Just shit yourself.
100% I did. Yeah. Or like any normal
Possums
person
be
would.
aggressive?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can
Both.
get on you.
Yeah, for sure.
They got claws, mate.
I was
They got
gonna say,
sharp claws.
Did you have your hands to defend yourself, or was it
So
that
it was
tight?
like that.
You
It was
could-
like that. So if it wanted to
You
jump,
could have done nothing.
If it wanted to jump straight in my grill, it could have had me. I would have just punched straight through the ceiling. Come down. I'd have to. It's my only way out.
Did you ever have Did you ever have another interaction with a possum after that?
No, I didn't. But under floors and that, like cats that would be under the floors of houses and stuff like that, they're pretty grim. But yeah, it had its perks at the same time. But yeah, it had some pretty shit scenarios as well.
Very adventurous.
It was
No way.
very good.
Hell no.
So.
You'd be handy on the farm. Did you grow up? Were you technically on the farm, weren't you?
No, so I only grew up on 5 acres.
Okay.
So, but my auntie and uncle got 5,000 acres.
Okay.
Up in a place called Ooze and Bushy Park.
huge.
So
So he'd be able to go down to Yarram and have a ball down with ducks.
we'd be able to have a field day. So that family,
Love that.
the
He
family,
would love
like
it.
through those generations, have had a lot of land all the time, and we'd spend some time up there, whether it was Christmas or mid-year, and then generally we'd go up and do like the lambing. So like, so dock their tails, mark them, give them their injections, and it was so hard. It's like
How many
like
have they got?
8. Oh, I'd hate it. There's like
Thousands.
thousands of them. So it took like 3 days of like work.
Can you hold on? Can you? I don't know. What's that? What are you doing?
8,000. Oh,
So you just get all. It was like you have to round up all the lambs.
yeah, they've got short tails, sheep. So you got to take their tails off.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Take their tails off, mark them, and then
injections and stuff like that.
Injections. So you got to catch them. So they always obviously get all hustled up to the same area, put them in a massive paddock fenced in, and then you just go one by one, just grab it, tuck their legs up, they dock the tail, mark them, injection, bang, move on.
Wow.
Next one.
One by one.
One by one, and you do like 3,000 to 5,000 of them.
How long does that take you?
3 days of heaps of people, and like I was no good worker. I was happily probably sitting out the back just going, this is too hard. And like that's dad's side of the family, they do that all the time. So it's like the amount of work they do is, yeah, it's tough work, but must be rewarding.
But you'd be
they do it
handy.
all the time.
So obviously, that's kind of the boring side of the farm life. The fun side is riding quad bikes and motorbikes, and
Yeah, I love
you'd
dirt
be pretty
bikes.
handy doing all that
I
stuff.
love dirt bikes. Used to always ride a pushy skate, and then bought dirt bikes when I was a bit older. I even had dirt bikes when I was at Melbourne, and then I was riding it every time I went back home. And then all of a sudden, just got back home and it was gone. Dad sold it because he's like, I'm selling it before you get injured. And I was like, oh, so I was pretty flat. But then I bought another one in Melbourne.
And where did you store it? Did you just have it at your
I
house?
just had it sitting at home. And then me and Sidey just go take him for a squirt every now and then. But I used it maybe twice in 18 months. So then I just sold it again. Yeah. So.
Did you ride that in Q?
Nah. Oh,
I reckon you did once.
potentially Sidey.
Was it
I used to
about
see it on the back of the ute.
Monday or so?
Yeah.
Nah, because I reckon we got them and then we took them up to Bright for the weekend. So me and Sidey both had them, chucked them on the back.
Yeah.
And we drove them all the way to Bright, which was an adventure. And I reckon we rode them for about 25 seconds, chucking them back on the ute, came back 2 days later. So just realised it was a poor buy. And
What was it?
I had a CRF 250.
Oh, yeah.
And Sidey had something similar, I think. So I think he's still got his, but
Yeah,
he doesn't
okay.
ride it.
It's
Yeah.
pretty funny because Steelo used to live 2 doors down from
Two
you.
doors down.
Yeah. I saw it
doors
done a
down.
few times every now.
Did you?
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah,
He
just
was-
for everyone out there.
Yeah.
Just for everyone out there, if you want to know the address.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
That's his spot, not mine. So.
But yeah, no, Steelo, we used to. That's pretty funny.
But yeah,
how,
so
how the world works.
he moved out of there, what, maybe 12 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he get a few boys into rent or something?
Nah, so he ended up, because he burnt that joint down.
Yeah.
And then they rebuilt it and then they ended up flogging it off. So
Yeah,
they sold
okay.
it. Yeah.
Were you there? Were
When
you
it
at home
burnt
at the
down.
time when it burned
Mate,
down?
I remember
Pretty
rolling into the
crazy.
street and there were just fire trucks, and I was like, far out. Lara's left the straightener on or something.
You're blaming Lara straight away.
Mate, straight away, because she would always text us saying, check the straighteners off and stuff like that.
So you thought
I
it
just
was your
remember
house.
driving around the corner, I was like, oh, God. And then saw steel out the front of his joint, and yeah,
He
it
rang
was
me.
full on fire.
He rang me that afternoon after it happened. And we're having a conversation. He's like, oh, could be worse. Could burn your house down. I was like, oh, fuck, imagine that. He goes, and then there's like this awkward pause. And he's like, I just did. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, my house just burnt down. I was like how much are we talking? Like the deck or? He's like, literally 3/4 of me out gone. He goes, I don't have a thing. I don't have any clothes. I don't have like
I
nothing.
remember walking in there and it was like a bomb had gone off.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Because
So-
he had to go live in a hotel for a bit, didn't he?
Live in a hotel
Far out.
until like because the insurance I assume it would be a bit of a nightmare organising your insurance and that and all that. And like instantly, that's the first thing I did when I got off the phone. I was like, I need to make sure I got
Take my
house
home
insurance.
insurance. You know what? I reckon I did the same thing around that time.
Yeah, and thankfully it was, but not that I plan on burning my house down anytime soon. But yeah, just the things is like he goes as soon as that happens, like moving forward, it's like you just start thinking about all the things that you don't normally think about, like just even simple things that you have in your everyday life that he no longer had, like nothing. So I literally came and brought like 3 bags of clothes, gave them to him, just small things like that until he could actually go and get anything because he couldn't go in there because all the stuff that was okay, so his clothes were that heavily smoke infused that there's no chance you could wear them. No. So everything was torched.
And he had his 2 dogs as well. And thank God they were okay.
Lost like you'd obviously know he had multiple top 3 best and fairest with all these tag watches or Tissot watches.
Yeah.
Gone. Like
didn't
so
know
like
that. Oh
everything.
my
So it's like his house contents and all that would be it'd be a nightmare. But he's got another beautiful house just around the corner. So it's he's doing it right.
It's good. I wanted to touch on the move from Melbourne to Collingwood. How many years did you spend at Melbourne?
5.
And you obviously made some great friendships there and loved some time. What was your most memorable moment as a Melbourne player?
Footy trips.
Is that a reflection of
They were
Where'd you go?
so well organised. Bali.
Dunny? Did Dunny organise it?
Dunny did, but so they had it. It was like they had it through generations. Like literally, the old Melbourne boys always had footy trips every year. They had designated games, how it was run. You had your grand poobah, you had like the committee, then you had like your players, rookies. Everything was set up perfectly, and it just rolled out every single year, and it was great. So regardless of how the season went, you always knew you had something to look forward to, and they were very, very well run.
Any one event stand out, or any trip
one memory
out, or
No PG ones. They're certainly going to air, that's for sure.
Have you been on a footy trip?
No, we had
Scrapped it.
Giants one I did, but it wasn't really well organised because we were really young and didn't have like a senior figure organising it. 1 year, my first year at Collingwood, they did one in Bali. I think Swanee run one in Bali.
Yeah.
Did you go to that one?
Yeah.
So there was one in Bali, and then after that they scrapped it. I didn't go to that one.
How many blokes would go on the footy trips?
Melbourne was like high 20s to
Yeah.
30 blokes.
We went to Hong Kong once. I think it was my second or third year. There was like 40 players.
Oh, it was a lot.
It was unbelievable.
More the better. Like,
I think so. I wish you could do it now.
because that one that you're talking about with Collingwood, there's only 9 of us that went.
Yeah, it was a small one.
But like, they're just great because like, especially at the end of the season, like when everyone wants to unwind,
Yeah.
people probably think, the last thing you want to do is hang around with the same blokes for like 5 days.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you see a different side to a lot of them, so
Exactly.
way more
it's a hell of
relaxed.
a lot more enjoyable.
Some of my best some of my favourite nights I've had have been, I think, 2018 Granny. After we obviously lost, we went back to Bond Bar and then ended up going to your house at some stage. One of the best nights I had. The following year, we lost in the prelims to the Giants. We all ended up back at your house. Do you remember that when?
Speaking of almost burning my house down, are you talking about that?
When who?
No, there was that night. Yeah, freaking funny. Anyway, we don't need to bring that up.
Don't want to bring it up.
There was. Do you remember? So we obviously just lost to the Giants in the prelim.
Yep.
We all went back to the club, and then we all went back to your house.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of friends play that day in their own grand final. That's your beautiful boy in the background too. He's out there in the background.
Quiet down.
And one of my great mates, Ray, played in the grand final that day and won.
Yeah.
And do you remember? So he would have gotten to your house at about 5 a.m. and he walked in, he had the premiership medallion around his neck, and Howie went and grabbed him, ripped his medal off and threw it off him. Do you remember doing that?
Sounds about right. I was like, we've just lost.
You know what's funny? He doesn't remember that because he was pissed.
Well, we've just lost the prelim, and we've got a bloke gloating about winning a granny.
Legit walked up to him, ripped his medal off and threw it off him. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. But nah.
Apologies to Ray, because he's a great human, that guy.
But no, we as you touched on with the footy trip, some of the best times are celebrating a season and one that's just gone by, especially after a year we've had quite a bit of success. And like I said, 18-19 was pretty fun. And
it was. It's the best way to unwind, for sure.
Yeah.
You always get, it's like, given we get significant breaks now at the end of seasons, which is really handy.
Yeah.
Like, you can always sacrifice the first 3 days to hang out with the boys.
But yeah, I didn't want to lose touch on what I wanted to say. The move from Melbourne to Collingwood, firstly, I know it's obviously, that was 7 years ago now, 2015 into 16?
Yep.
Same year as me.
Yep. That's why I came.
Yeah.
And there was no money left.
Adsy took it all. James Ace took it all.
That is great.
Bloody Adsy.
Was that a hard decision to leave initially?
Yeah, for sure.
Because obviously you've just touched on socially, you're one of the great human beings who has many friends. It would have been initially hard to leave those Melbourne boys.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those ones where it's like, you almost explain it, because when you start, you start exploring options and what you think might potentially happen, and you feel like you might go, and you're having these conversations behind the club's back, you almost feel like it's almost like a relationship type setup. You're almost like, geez, I feel like I'm doing the dirty here.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's like, I dwindled it down to I wasn't happy, I wasn't playing good footy, and I needed a change.
Yep.
So then I was like, as soon as I made that decision, I was like, yep, this is going to be best for me, best for Carlia, my whole family and all that. And it actually, the transition was really smooth. But yeah, the decision had plenty of weight.
Yep.
Was the decision late?
No, so I kind of knew I was going to be going probably about 8 games to go.
Yeah, okay.
And then in my exit review, they well and truly knew I wasn't going to be there.
Yep.
So
Melbourne fully expected you to re-sign and stay, and they clearly wanted you there.
Well, yeah, so it was in that transition period. Goody was obviously taking over as head coach.
Yep.
We were negotiating the contract as well. But then so they were doing their due diligence, I suppose, and creating a contract for me. But then I was also doing some work behind the scenes to try and go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I ended up signing with Collingwood because I felt like that was going to be the best fit for me.
Yep.
And the complete freshen up for me, it just rejuvenated myself. Like
Yep.
I would speak to my parents like 3-4 times a week. And there was times where I was like, I wasn't speaking to them for six weeks.
When
I was at the Daisy last year. Because I was
okay.
just like, I just don't want to speak to anyone. Because I was like, I'm just not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then, so since I left, it was like I really enjoyed my footy, but the relationship still remained really strong with the guys who I left behind.
Yep.
And, it's great seeing them now. Like, I've always said about, like, Gorney, the career that he's had.
Yeah.
Like, for him to be able to sustain and be maintained there the whole time. Like, Tommy McDonald was drafted the same year as me.
Yep.
So he's managed to hang on, which is really great. And
Yeah.
ticked his milestone off, and they're all premiership players. And I've always thought, it just felt like Gorney was meant to win one. Like, he's got every accolade in the comp. He's arguably going to go down as
one of the greatest.
the greatest ruckman of all
not
time.
the greatest ruckman.
And I felt like a premiership was just meant to happen for
Yep.
him.
Yep.
But I'm not that envious. I'm stoked that they're doing really well.
Yep.
But I'm also equally happy of them changing and going to Collingwood
Yep.
and having a complete different mindset towards
Yeah.
my footy. So it's worked out best for both worlds. But there was a bit of criticism in that on the way out. But at the same time, there's like very rarely do they go through completely smoothly.
Yeah.
But
I don't think they ever do.
it was a good decision for all. Ended up being like a 4-way trade, and
when
won out clearly.
well, they definitely did. When you were transitioning over, because you were still a forward, and I swear, early days at Pies, Bucks were still trying to play up forward, wasn't he?
Well, that was the whole deal of going there. I was going to be like a wing forward. So
yeah,
just
that's right. I
transition
remember.
from wing, bit of wing, pinch hit in the forward line.
Yep.
And that lasted 4 games.
Because
So-
you got injured, didn't you, real early on?
So I had
Collingwood?
I had stress in my foot
That's
in
right.
the first pre-season. So
Yep.
it wasn't great coming to a new club and being injured.
Yeah.
I was kind of behind the 8 ball there, but
Yeah.
got that right, managed to crack my way into the team and played my first 4 games as a forward.
Yeah.
And then like the backs just started dropping like flies. It was like Sinks went down,
That's right.
Marley Williams went down, then it was like they just kept going. Rammer went down.
Yeah,
I think
that's
Ox was
right.
injured. I was
Yeah.
like, Bucks come to me at training, middle of the main training. He's like, look, mate, I knew I promise you I was never going to go down this route. I was like, I told you I was never going to play in the back line, but you're the only guy that's got experience that's played back. I was like, to be honest, I was like, I didn't care. Like, it didn't shock me or anything like that. And I was like, I'm more than happy to play. I was just stoked that I was playing.
Yeah.
So, that transition happened, and then, I haven't seen the forward 50 since. So that was about 105 games.
So you haven't been thrown forward. I can't actually recall you ever being thrown forward when we were playing, but not even
With Collingwood.
Yeah, not even when the game's on the line. Just chuck Howie up forward.
Like
only
if they
time-
take a 7th or something.
The only ever time I really ran down was that 29 at prelim, where we'll pepper in the goals flat out.
Yes.
Bruzzy got the ball about 55 out on the boundary line and tried to hook it to the top of the goal square, but he just kicked it to the pocket, and I was on my own like 20 out.
Was that off?
And I was like, I'm on here, and it just didn't get to me because it would have been the hardest kick ever.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the only time I really broken down through.
and that would have been off your own doing. You're like, we just got to score here.
Well, the time was running out,
Yeah.
and we were 4 points down or something. So I was like, well, stuff it. I'd rather lose by 10 than
then
and have a crack.
Yep.
But it didn't work out. So I'm always out there pre-game, having set shots though. Just
I
I'm
know
just
you are.
creating a resume. Just like keep watching me. If the time comes and I'm ready, I'll go down there.
How many goals have you kicked at the Pies then, compared to Melbourne?
Nah,
Not many.
Nah.
What did you kick in Melbourne?
You kicked a few. You
I'll
kicked
kick-
over 100, didn't you?
No way.
I
I've only
swear.
kicked like 93 in my career.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I could swear you kicked more.
But
Do you reckon? Would you have had the thought that he'd kick more than 100?
Yeah.
Because your as I said, early days, your career was just as a forward at the D's, and I swear you used to just kick back.
No, I kicked about 60 in my first 3 years there. But then I started playing back. So I probably kicked about 20 at Collingwood. But yeah, that's it. So,
Yeah. Okay. I have to touch on your hangers.
yeah.
I actually don't know what your favourite hanger is because you've taken clearly that many. I've taken a hanger too.
What, when you're about
Adsy's
10?
out there on the marking bag after training these
No, you're
days,
not.
trying to get better at his
No
hangers.
way.
Yes.
Hang on, I'm not doing it to get better at my hangers. I'm doing
Yes,
it to
you
get
are.
better at my marking.
Yeah.
On a hanger bag.
Well,
Yeah.
coach wants me to do that, so I'm following the coach's orders.
So,
But-
so how many times in a game do you put yourself in a position to be able to get a contested mark?
I reckon recently 2 or 3.
A season.
No. A game.
A game? You reckon you're in a position to take contested
not
marks?
take a hanger to kind of like come across and
You reckon?
Well,
He took a quarter hanger last year.
I'm forever trying to expand my game.
I watch a lot of your footy, and I'm yet to really see that arcing.
I'm forever
coming
trying
through.
to expand my game. I'm trying to.
That's good. It's good to hear. No,
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not about me taking hangers, even though I have taken one.
Yeah.
One. Do you remember the one?
He wouldn't remember.
No.
Did you watch?
Because it's like a calf race for him. For me, it's
Mate, you got like this half the ground. It was on Darcy Burn-Jones last year against Port. Like one of the last rounds of the season. He just sort of went up and then misjudged it and then just came back and did a little...
Was that when you caught it when you're on the floor?
Yeah.
You know what, I'm gonna.
Are you going to find it? You literally caught it on the way down.
I'm gonna find it for you.
Yeah, okay.
But no, can you tell me what your favourite
Mark
hanger is? My favourite mark of yours is, just before I follow this, is I was right seeing it was the one against Melbourne, Tom McDonald.
Yeah.
You did 2 that game.
Nah, we did...
He knows all.
No. It was because we played Melbourne twice in like 6
Oh,
weeks.
okay.
So the next one was on track. It's pretty much the same spot.
Yes, it was same spot. So it's
Yeah.
the one I was underneath it. I remember Nathan Jones and I looked at each other like,
Yeah.
what the heck? And we ran back.
Yeah.
But anyway, your favourite.
That'd probably be my favourite.
How do you know it's a good mark? Like, what's a good mark for you? You get the little double pump sort of thing?
Probably height maybe, or I honestly don't know. Like, you know when you're higher than normal.
Yeah.
So, like general contested marks are, I don't really rate them, but
So that's your favourite. Can't find it. I'll find it another time. So that, because you won, how many times you won Mark of the Year?
once.
And it was against Sydney.
Sydney. Yeah.
So your mark against Melbourne,
Yeah.
you think that's better than the one you took against Sydney?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I do remember.
Yeah.
Come the end of the year that year, when we all thought do you know that mark against Melbourne? So do you know the mark we're talking about?
Nah.
We'll get it up. I don't want to compare the pair, but Howie didn't win mark of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's been multiple times that's happened,
but
surely.
this one is like a genuine robbery.
Nah, it was.
This one here. Don't worry about the the volume. Yeah, here. Yeah, even the commentary on it.
Oh, yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
Didn't win mark of the year.
Yeah, but then I was
what
like,
won it?
It was Joe Danaher's mark.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
it's
good mark.
It's about the same size as Adsy's one.
Oh, so it was really
I'm gonna
really
find
high.
massive.
I'm gonna find Adam's one.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I naturally would have thought the mark of the year that you took would have been your favourite mark that you took. Your personal favourite.
No. Well, it's like, it's one of those. Well, there's one against Port Adelaide up in Darwin
Oh yeah,
on Steph Martin
on Steph,
and Alapati Carlisle.
and
So
that's right there.
They
Your
gave me a
favourite.
good ride. That was, that'd be the top 3 for sure.
I also wanted to, because it's Sir Douglas Nichols around this round.
Yeah.
I think Tom Mitchell the other day put up. He asked a couple of Indigenous fellas at Hawthorn their 3 best Indigenous players of all time.
Yeah.
You being the footy head that you are, I want to know who your three best Indigenous players that you've seen.
The best or my favourite?
Nah, there's a difference.
I know. So what do you want to say?
Nah, I want
The best.
your best. Yeah,
I'd have to say Buddy.
my one would be Buddy too.
Yep. Andrew McLeod.
Yeah, that's good.
Gun.
And it's pretty hard.
It is tough. There's so many.
I know.
There's
It's
so
probably
many good players.
It's either like Eddie Betts or Adam Goods.
See, mine would be because I thought.
But then
about
there's
it.
Sean Burgoyne,
There's Cyril
Rowley. I love Aaron Davey.
Daniel Wells. Daniel Wells was a star.
Yeah.
Aaron Davey was a star, and he
Yeah.
had his absolute best.
So,
Sean, did you say Sean Burgoyne? Peter Burgoyne? Sean?
Yeah. So like I'm a person of like I don't really like to differentiate, just appreciate it. So
Okay, can you tell me who your 3 favourite Indigenous players are of all time?
Aaron Davey,
Star.
Eddie Betts,
McLeod.
yeah,
McLeod for me.
probably Andrew McLeod. He just used to break games to pieces.
Who did you go for as a youngster?
Collingwood,
So you're a Collingwood fan. Who's your favourite player?
Bucks.
Was Bucks your favourite?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because you're an inside mid.
Here we go. This is about
What's this?
looking at
This is
your
your mark.
highlight in front of a packed crowd.
Hey, that is a hanger and a half.
That's not bad. Did you even get in the top 3 nomination for the week though?
I actually think I did.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually think I did.
Really?
I think I did, yeah.
On the Bulldogs
'Cause
website?
No. Because I remember there was people voting for me. Not that I should have won. I don't think I did.
Yeah,
But out of 10, what do you rate that? Seriously.
For you?
Yeah, for me.
7, 8.
So if you did that, would you do most games?
I wouldn't even look at it.
Oh, wow.
But that's not taking anything away from yours. It's great,
Thanks, mate.
It's good.
No, it is good.
Yeah.
It was a good mark, wasn't it?
Was.
Hopefully it comes up in the highlight too.
So you got to keep practicing them, mate.
Well, I do. I try. I'm trying to expand my game, Howie. I'm trying to add another string to my bow, as they say. I'm getting older. I'm trying to...
What are you, 27?
I'm 29. Turned 29 2 months ago.
What are you, Dunk?
25.
He's a baby, isn't he?
That was about 10 years ago for me. God.
I wanted to touch on as well, Dunks, with you, as we do all the time. You're still on the fence with who you support in the netball between the Thunderbirds and the Firebirds. And for those netball fans out there, they played yesterday and the Thunderbirds won.
They did. They won a piece, mate,
So
this year.
have you,
So it's actually
have you got a
good,
definitive answer yet for who you're supporting?
No.
He's on the fence. Sucks.
They won a piece.
It's a very hard decision to make.
Girlfriend plays for
Make
the
a
Thunderbirds.
decision.
Sister plays for the Firebirds. I know a lot of the Firebirds girls and Thunderbirds girls.
You asked me a question early on in the year. Early on in the year.
Oh, yeah. I asked him one.
What was the question?
It was like if Georgie...
And I had a choice. I actually said an answer. That's right. It was Georgie or Kim. Who would I support if they played
If they
against
were
each
playing
other?
against each other.
I had an answer too. I had a definitive answer.
Did you say it?
I did, yes.
What is it?
I think I said Kim.
No, you said Georgie. You said Georgie.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's changed his mind because,
No.
Fence sitter, mate. Come on.
I'll say George. I'll say
It's
Kim.
too hard, mate. I
say
don't want you to
Kim.
pick.
He's just out. He just has twice over 2 different answers.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want him to pick.
I'm not picking, mate. I'm not
Why
picking.
not?
Why can't you support both?
Exactly.
Because come grand final day,
Yeah.
game's on the line, you know, you're there. Who are you barracking for? Who are you supporting?
Me and Dunks have a punch on. Who do you hope wins?
Yeah.
There's a difference between who I hope and who I know will win.
Who do you hope wins?
Fair fight. I hope when your punches land, you both just knock out. Straight away on
That's
the
fence
ground.
sitting if I've ever seen it.
Another thing I wanted to bring up with you.
Here we go.
Another bone to
That's
pick.
gold.
Another bone to pick with you and Ritz over here. We obviously do our vlogging videos.
We're not going to bring up the shooting event, are we?
And last week we did a vlog on our day off, and we had a shooting event outside.
And you got whooped.
Is that when I caught fire?
Yeah, you did catch fire, and yeah, I did get whooped in that one contest that we had.
The one game that we had.
Yeah,
Is
there was
it-
only one game.
is
That's all
this
that's
true?
on.
Is this? Tell me if this is true, Howie. Did we have one game, or did we have more than one
We did
game?
have one game at one stage.
Swear, at one stage, is that what you said? Overall, the whole time we spent out there,
Yeah.
did we have more than one game?
Yeah. Yes.
And overall,
We had one serious game though.
One serious game that he took
serious
was that the
serious.
free throw shoot? The free throw
It was
shooting that
only
we took?
one game that got videoed because it was only worthy of getting videoed.
Yeah.
And that was a game that I smacked you. So
It's true. It's true. Would you be surprised if I told you that the next day and the next day after that, I spent about 2 hours out there shooting from that one spot?
I could literally, I felt like I was on the way home and I could hear the basketball was going from that one spot.
That's so good.
Why do you think my rebounder's out there? I've been throwing the ball against the rebounder in that shot and trying to shoot it.
I literally rocked up today when I was waiting for you to rock up. And I went straight to that spot just to see if it was still hot. Cooled down a
After
little.
this, we'll go and have a look.
Cooled down a little bit.
Oh.
So
But speaking of basketball, your tip's gone. So you said Philly. So he
Yeah.
when James Harden got traded,
yeah.
did you put a little bet on Philly?
Yeah, I put a bet on Philly.
No good.
No good. They've
I-
struggled.
It doesn't help when Harden doesn't try though.
Yeah.
that was
What was his second half? He had 2 points or something.
Zero.
how
Or
funny.
0, was it?
Zero.
Yeah,
He had two shots.
0.
2 shots. Yeah.
How funny was that tweet? Did you see the tweet? It was something like Philly have traded Ben Simmons, who in last year's Game 6 had 0 points in the second half, no field goals attempted, for James Harden, who had 0 points in the second half and 2 field points
yeah.
attempted.
It was interesting, but yeah. What? Who do you think will win?
Well, I reckon the potty can vouch for this. Earlier in the year, I picked Miami.
Really?
So I've always been on Miami's.
Why? How?
think
Here's a
they-
question for you, as both basketball fans. What's up, hey, little man? Why is Jimmy Butler so much better when the playoffs start?
I think that he realises seriously. I think he realises what's really important: the regular season or
postseason.
But don't you have to get there first?
Yeah, but hey,
Well, so he feels like
he
he's
knows,
just automatically just going to get there.
He knows his team's because his team's good enough to get there, and they can kind of coast along to get there.
So that'd be like the equivalent of just going Christian Petrarca just parking his tickets, going, "We're going to get to the final."
It probably
so
would be.
Then I'll start trying.
You know what it reminds me of? Howie's little man.
You want to come on? All
right. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of. I want to see if you think the same thing. Like Hawthorn's three-peat. 2-15 in particular, they had games throughout the year where, like when I was at the Giants at the time, and we didn't make top 8, but we beat them up in Sydney by, I think, 6 goals. They had games where they kind of knew they weren't going to win, but then they got to the final series and they just won.
Dominated.
I think that's the same as Miami.
Really?
That's why I picked Miami early on, because I think the roster is the same from 2 years ago when they made the finals in the hub.
Imagine how fortunate that would be in professional environment to be able to flick a switch. I just find that almost impossible.
Yeah.
Well, like, Jimmy Buckets can do it.
He just loves the postseason, mate.
Well, that's the thing. It becomes like, it's like he averages 8 more points. Yeah. Like his influence goes through the roof, which is, I just find it, interesting. But
who do you think's going to win, and who are you going for? Who have you thought? Because you would have had an opinion early on in the season.
Well, I just assumed Milwaukee were going to go right, but then when Middleton went down, I was like, well, that was going to be a bit of an issue.
Still close. Good team.
And like probably looking at how like Giannis was playing against the Celtics, it's like if they're going to get through this, like that just probably it's more of a feather in the cap for Giannis.
Yeah.
Because we saw what happened with KD and Kyrie. Yep. So
and Giannis still played unbelievable.
Yeah. So I don't know. You don't like Dallas.
I don't like Luka's carry on.
Yeah, he carries on a bit, but I was like, he's pretty good to see when he's up and going.
He's a superstar.
Did Golden State beat him?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, he did.
Yeah. So
he's a superstar. Don't get me wrong, I know that, but I just can't stand his carry on.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe like Golden State or Miami, those two.
I thought you might have said Golden State because with your shooting and your capabilities, you
similar to Curry. Is that what you're talking about?
The other day, similar to Curry and Klay Thompson.
Could you tell?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah. I'm like the splash trio.
Well, you are. You are very handy at most sports. Cricket and golf in particular.
Golf,
If you put a hand in my face, though, I'll miss every one of them. Free flowing, no pressure.
Hey, that's not true. Can I tell you why that's not true?
Why?
Do you remember that one-off game we played at MSAC?
Oh, yeah, 5v5.
Must have been after, I think it was after we lost that prelim. We went on the Tuesday, and you hit 5 threes in the first. We played 2 halves. We played a genuine 5-on-5 game, and he hit 5 threes in the first half.
How'd you go that day?
Shithouse. It was all about rebounding and assisting.
There was so much pressure in that game, and Adsy went 0-5 in the first half, and then he refused to shoot in the second half.
I did hit a 3, and then I hit a 2, so I was happy with that. But
I went 0 from 11 in the second half.
That's right. No, but you were genuinely 5 from 5 in the first half. You had hands in your face.
Then went missing. Yeah.
So what was that? 3 days after the season finished?
So we lost to...
We went just had a massive...
Are you like Ads when it comes to training and stuff post-season? Are you...
No.
So this bloke has like 1 day off and then he's back into training.
Yeah, I'll just have a month off.
Yeah. So why?
At least a month. Fit. At least a month.
We do have a funny story.
And then if I want to sweat, I'll jump in the sauna.
Yeah.
No, hang on.
Your sauna.
Yeah. We do have a funny story. Do you remember? It was 2017 because it was the Richmond Adelaide Granny. And we didn't make finals. We'd been out for a month. And you messaged me because on the Saturday, everyone gets together and has a grand final party. And so anyway, he had a grand final party that day, and he's messaged me the night before. And by this stage, this is genuinely 5 weeks after we've been eliminated. So I'm well and truly into my off season of training.
You're 95% fit.
I'm set program. I'm just doing everything every day.
All your extras.
He's messaged me the day before and gone, you must have said you want to do a session or something tomorrow. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, on Saturdays I go and run the hill. There's hills up there. So I was doing some hill session with
Cerberus.
with Cerberus hills.
I still have nightmares this morning.
It's like it's about 200 meters long, and it gradually just gets steeper and steeper, and it's a pretty big hill. He said to me, "You want to do a session?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do the hills." Brought Ray along. Unfittest I've ever seen him. Ray was genuinely beating him.
So bad.
He said to me,
I don't have asthma, but I thought I was going to have an asthma attack. I felt like I was breathing through a straw. Like I couldn't breathe.
I reckon we did about, I say we did 8. I don't know many.
But we had to run there first and then run back.
No,
and then run back.
Run to the hills. Do the hills. We did about 8. I reckon we got like 5 or 6 through, and he's like, Ads, I don't think I can do any more. Like, I was
on my haunches. I was like, I can't do this. It's like, and then, funnily enough, what has there been? 5 other grand finals days, and I haven't texted since.
No, because if you put some context behind it, you in terms of running, just running in general, Howie would smash me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, time trials and everything, Howie would smash me.
What's your time trials like?
Well, we only
3K?
Nah, 2Ks. What is your best 2K?
6:22.
There you go.
Which is not great, but
How do you go at like what's that in the ranking?
I'd be maybe 10th.
Yeah, top 10.
12th maybe.
Wow.
So anyway, that's what I mean. He would flog me in running, and we've gone and done this hill session, and he literally hasn't trained in a month, and he's come and done the hills, and
Yeah, but you need to give your body a rest, mate. I'm with Howie.
Oh yeah, cool. I'm not.
I'm not necessarily. I was
My
like,
body is rested, mate. I just like training.
I've changed a little bit. Like, I'll definitely get back and I'm fit
Yeah.
enough to train.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. I kind of like, say, especially pre-Christmas, the build of getting fit.
Getting up to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of rocking up 95% fit
Yeah.
and then just trying to peak at pre-Christmas,
Yeah,
and then all of a
yeah,
sudden
yeah.
you feel like you're on the limiter for 3 months before you've even played a game. So
Yeah, that was this bloke last off season.
My MS running
Yeah.
yeah, so like
Dominated.
came second
Did you?
in the running time trial that we do. I came second,
That's good.
Out of everyone.
which would never happen. Like, I was never a good runner at
The year before,
Collingwood.
the year before you were like
shocking. I was like,
halfway through.
it would have been 15th, 16th.
Yeah.
But I think, in fairness as well to me, I've lost like 8 kilos
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
I was like, why'd you lose 8 kilos?
because soft tissue injuries, first and foremost. I feel like I'm not blaming it. I'm not blaming being heavier for my soft tissue injuries, but I reckon it contributed a lot
Yeah.
because I wasn't doing anything different than what I was doing now. And I don't, knock on wood, bloody don't want to jinx myself, but I've been pretty fortunate with soft tissue since losing the weight. And I feel like I hope to think that it would prolong my career a little bit longer
Yeah.
instead of carrying that extra weight. Because I was genuinely 91, 92 kilos when I was playing at Collingwood.
I know.
There's some pictures of you got.
Yeah.
You've got them.
Like a running fridge out there.
He used to,
Call him the Kelvinator.
whenever he used to hug me, he used to go, shit, you're like a fridge.
Couldn't get my arms around you. But it's like, it's like as an optical, like watching you run around the ground. You cover the ground way better. You were like a bursting speed player. You always had that. But
Much
now it's
better
like you
than-
just continually run.
Well, that was my thing. I just wanted to prolong my career. Like I had to. You talk about Melbourne, and when you went from Melbourne to Collingwood, it was a good opportunity for you to set yourself again. And obviously, I didn't want to leave Collingwood at the time, but when I did, that was kind of like an opportunity for me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think it also helped with the players that we actually have at our club with Bont and Nader and Libba, all these guys that can dunks that can play inside. I didn't really need to do that. I need to try and utilise my strengths.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't want to. I don't know why we're talking about me.
Mate, we're talking about you because, well, we should talk about you. It's your milestone this week. This is probably what we should finish on.
Bloody oath.
Yeah. What do you want to know, mate?
Wow, what's it been like? What's your best highlight? You've spoken about Georgie coming out with you, running out with you.
Yeah, I think that'll be my proudest moment. Is that your proudest moment? Surely now in your AFL career, your boy running out with you.
Yeah. Well, I think, even the moment that when you have a kid, I was like, you see your number on plenty of jerseys, like plenty, you.
We seen it in the crowd on the weekend. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know, it just hits you differently when it's your own kid wearing your number.
Yep.
So that was probably the most emotional I'd felt.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it was like you'll feel that this coming weekend.
That's probably been my, like I think about it now and I put everything into context. That's probably going to be my proudest moment, definitely. Because Georgie hasn't been on a footy field with me yet. So that's probably going to be the proudest. I'm going to have to rug her up because it's going to be, 5-6 degrees in Ballarat.
The boys would know.
Tops.
Our producers here, they're actually from Ballarat.
I know, we've had this discussion
So,
before.
so these boys know what it's like.
Sunny and 7 degrees.
So I'm going to have to rug her up. But that'll probably be my proudest moment. I think in terms of footy, there's a few. Like I think about my first win at the Giants. That was something special because that was the first win in the history of the footy club, and that's forever going to be with me. I think I can't go past like the 2018 season that we had at the Pies. That was something special, and it's just so unfortunate we didn't win. It still breaks my heart. It's always going to bloody break my heart because we should have won that day. But that season, that game in particular, I think the prelim final is probably the one that's always going to be with me because biggest crowd I've ever played in front of. There was about what was it? It was about 101,000. Was it 101,000?
I think it was about 95 or something.
Or was it
Wasn't that big?
95?
Yeah,
101 must have been the granny then.
If it was Richmond v... Oh, if we played Richmond
In
in
the
that granny
granny.
in 2019, it would have been out of control.
Yeah, so I think 18 that season, but the prelim win was special. That was a special win. And then I think, obviously, the grand final last year stands out quite a bit for us. I think just the fact that we got there in the position that we were in, and we were obviously in that little hub up in Tassie, down in Tassie, and to get there but not win obviously sucked. But those are probably the moments that I'll always remember. Hopefully, there's plenty more memories to come. I don't plan to retire anytime soon.
I'm sure there will be, mate.
And I don't plan to play for any other footy club. So
You've only got 7 more years on your deal, haven't you? So you've got to at least get through those.
trying to got to get through those. But
exactly.
I am very proud to get there. It's something that you probably appreciate a lot more when you're done. But I'm looking forward to it.
I was like, obviously you spoke about the most proudest moment. Like, what gives you the greatest enjoyment out of? You've played 199 games so far. You love to appreciate others and celebrating others' successes and all that kind of stuff. But what gives you the greatest enjoyment throughout footy?
I reckon it's changed. It's clearly changed. Like early days, it is about how you can establish yourself and I guess it is looking after yourself. You want to establish yourself as a bona fide footy player. So the most pleasing thing was when you played well and you could play consistent footy. It's clearly changed over time, and things that I've now experienced with losing grannies and being traded when I didn't want to get traded. So now it really is just being able to go in after a win in particular and just see how happy it makes everyone. And I mean, not that it should dictate your mood. Winning and losing shouldn't dictate how you are. Like, it should not dictate the moods of the footy club.
Certainly helps.
But it definitely helps. And there's no better feeling than being able to see that and celebrate that. One thing that we do really well at the footy club, which I just love, and he's obviously done it for a long time now, is we celebrate our wins in the change room. I know there was that video that came out last year in the prelim final when we were singing the song, but that's just something we do after every game we win. Those are the moments that you think about. I love seeing guys that I've played with, and in terms of my teammates, you two are clearly the closest friends that I've had in my footy career. And when I see Dunks do well, you'll always see that I'm the first one over to celebrate with him and get around him and watch him do well. When I watch you boys, which I always watch you guys, when I see you do in particular and see guys that I've played with, I get just great enjoyment out of that because I know how much it cares for you, how much you guys care about. I know how hard you've worked in particular. I know how hard you work. When I see that, I get such great enjoyment out of it. So it kind of just changes. It changes over time, and being able to see that is, it's nice. But it changes, doesn't it? It changes from being able to establish yourself to then, just being part of a successful footy club. And now my motivation is just winning, just wanting to win. And I feel like we're in hopefully a good window to be able to do that. But that's my main motivation. And as you know, I'm as competitive as anybody. And I don't.
Oh, really?
I do not like. I do not like losing.
I feel like you've already teed up the next game of basketball after this potty.
Why do you keep, looking out at the basketball court? But no, hopefully there's a few more games to come.
It's good, mate. It's been a incredible career to date. Congratulations on 200 games. You probably should wrap it up there. Thanks, Howie, for coming on, and everyone for listening.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Thanks, boys.